Welcome to Itsy Bitsy Makes Waves and Saves Water. You all remember the Itsy Bitsy spider, right? The one who climbed up the water spout? Well, there are lots of stories and songs about Itsy Bitsy spider. And this story has to do with one day when she wanted to go have some fun. Now, there are lots of things a spider can do. A spider could go for a run. A spider could make a web. A spider could play games like tag or hide and go seek, just like you kids do. But on this particular day, she wanted to do something else. Itsy Bitsy decided that she wanted to go swimming. So she got out the little wading pool that she had. Now, it seems like a wading pool for us, but of course for a spider, it would be like a great big enormous swimming pool. She got some help from her brothers and sisters, and they pushed it out to the backyard. And then they got the hose and put the end of the hose into the pool. And they went over and they turned the knob for the water hose, and nothing happened. Now that was kind of strange. They'd never had that happen before. Every time when they'd wanted some water out of the hose in the backyard, they'd turn the handle and all of a sudden they had water. Something was wrong. The first thing Itsy Bitsy did was the same thing kids do when there's a problem. She went and asked her dad and mom. Now luckily it was a weekend, so her parents were at home. And they thought it was kind of strange too. When they turned on the water faucet, the faucets didn't work either. And so Mom called the city. The city staff that runs the water system, well, they're in charge of these sorts of things. And so after a few minutes of talking with the city folks, they learned that the big water tower in town was empty. People in the town had been using so much water, it used up all the water they had, at least for a little while. Thought Itsy. We've used too much water? That's why I can't go swimming? Wonder how that happened. And Mom Spider, she smiled and said, well, if you want to find something out, you know where to go, right, Itsy Bitsy? And Itsy Bitsy did. Itsy Bitsy knew that one of the best places to go to learn new things is the library. It's full of books and electronic resources and videos, all sorts of things to help you learn new things. There were all kinds of books about water at the library. There were picture books, there were science books, there were fiction books. There were all sorts of things to help her learn about water, where it comes from, where it goes, and how we could ever run out of it. Itsy Bitsy found a lot of books about water that she wanted to check out. So she ordered them on the library's website. And after a little while, Itsy Bitsy's mom got a phone call that the books were ready to be picked up. Itsy Bitsy spent the rest of that day and most of the day after that reading all about water, where it comes from, where it goes, how people use it, and what we can do to help save water so we never run out again. One of the first things that Itsy Bitsy learned was about something called the water cycle. It's the way that water changes from being liquid to being a gas to then being a liquid again, and sometimes even turning solid in wintertime as snow or ice. She learned that there's a lot of water out in the ocean, right around here, and that water evaporates, goes up into the clouds, and creates those clouds, actually. Clouds are actually water up in the sky. And then, after a time, that water rains down on places like Faribault and Northfield. The water runs off the landscape into rivers and streams and into lakes, and those lakes flow into other rivers that eventually end up back in the ocean again. So water's constantly being recycled over and over again. That was an interesting idea. The idea that we don't ever get more or less water, we just keep reusing the water over and over again. Something that really surprised Itsy Bitsy was that most of the water on Earth isn't the kind that we use. See, the kind that spiders and people use most of the time is something called fresh water. It's the same kind of water you see in most rivers or lakes here in Minnesota. But most of the water on Earth is actually something called salt water. That's what you see in the oceans. And while it is water, it's also full of salt. And so you can't drink it. You can't use it to irrigate crops. You can't use it for your fish tank. You could swim in it if you really wanted to. But most of what we use water for, it has to be fresh water to do it. And Itsy Bitsy learned that most of the water on Earth isn't fresh water. Most of it's salt water, and even of the fresh water that we have, most of that is either in the groundwater or in ice caps and glaciers. And so only a very small amount of fresh water is available to all of us, people and spiders, here in Minnesota. Now, we're lucky. We do have lots of rivers and lakes in Minnesota. We're very fortunate. But that doesn't mean we have enough that we can just waste it. Itsy Bitsy also learned about how we get our water. Here in Minnesota, most of our cities and rural houses get our water from wells. We dig a hole down into the ground and put well casing around it to seal it up, and that big tube of metal brings water from deep underground up into our cities, or if we live out in the country, out into our houses directly. But if we use a whole lot of water, sometimes that underground water supply runs out. Itsy also learned about all the different ways that we use water in our houses. Now, she knew most of these already. She knew that she flushed the toilet, that uses some water. The clothes washer and the dishwasher and the sink, those all use water. Showers definitely use water. But what really surprised her was what used 13.7% of the water in most houses. 13% is from leaks. Faucets or toilets that are leaking water, just wasting that water going back down the drain. That kind of surprised her. Itsy Bitsy couldn't think of any water leaks they have at her house, but she learned that the average house might have leaks that lose as much as 10,000 gallons of water a year. Now, it's true, maybe some houses have fewer leaks and some have a few more, but that's as much as 270 loads of laundry. That's a lot of water, and a whole lot of filling up the swimming pool water. One easy way to find a leak is dripping faucets. If you see there's a dripping faucet in your house, in the kitchen or the bathroom, that's a clue that you're losing some water. And even though it doesn't seem like a lot of water, one drip at a time, over and over again, it adds up fast. Doing her research, Itsy Bitsy learned lots of ways to save water. One way is by going to your bathroom and fixing any dripping faucets or leaky toilet tanks. Another way is by taking shorter showers. Since every minute you're in a shower, it uses up a lot of water. But generally speaking, a 5-minute shower uses less water than a bath. Now, I know you kids are probably saying, well, I can't fix leaky faucets, but you do have parents or guardians in your house, adults, and they can help you. It's actually a pretty easy process for some kinds of leaks, and Itsy Bitsy learned from talking to the reference librarian, there's this great place called YouTube that has videos about how to fix things in your house like dripping faucets and leaking toilet tanks. There are lots of ways to save water in the kitchen as well. You could put a pitcher with tap water in the fridge rather than running the tap every time you want some cold water. You could use the dishwasher. Using a dishwasher actually uses less water than hand washing as long as you're running a full dishwasher. And if you are doing dishes with your mom or dad or guardian, make sure you're not leaving the water run constantly while you're washing or rinsing dishes. You could put some water, if you have 2 sinks, in one of the sinks and have it be rinse water. Outdoors, watering your lawn early in the morning helps that water soak into the lawn and avoid it evaporating up into the sky. While evaporation is natural, you don't want to waste water by letting it go up instead of soaking down into the soil. If you have to clean your sidewalks or driveways, using a broom and not water helps you save water. And if you have trees in your yard, you can put mulch around them to help that water stay in the ground and not evaporate out into the sky. When your family is looking to buy new appliances, there's a special sticker called Water Sense from the Environmental Protection Agency, and that identifies appliances that are really good at conserving water. So, whether you're just fixing up the things you have at your house so they work better, or getting new things that are more water efficient, there's lots that people can do to help save water. Now, this was all good information, but Itsy Bitsy didn't want to just learn about saving water. She wanted to actually find ways to save water so they'd have plenty of water for filling a swimming pool. And so she decided she would try to find any water leaks at her house. Itsy Bitsy decided that she would look at appliances that use the most water in the house, and that was the toilet. She figured if there was a leaky toilet, that's a lot of water lost, and so she went to work. From doing research with the books from the library and on the internet, she learned that one way to see if your toilet is leaking is to listen to it, to hear if there's water dribbling down. But not all leaks make noise. So she learned something else, too. Sometimes state offices give out these little tablets that look a lot like the tablets you use to color Easter eggs in the spring. Now, she didn't have any of those tablets, but she did dig around in their old Easter supplies and found one of those little color tablets. She learned that if she were to drop it in the toilet tank, and then if the water in the toilet bowl turns color, they've got a leak. Unfortunately, she found one of her toilets did have a leak. When she put one of those little tablets in the tank, a color leaked down into the bowl. But she talked with her mom and dad and found out it's not that hard to fix a leaky toilet. From doing research in those library books and on the internet, she learned that in many cases, a toilet will leak because the flapper, that red thing at the middle of the tank, is old and worn out, and it's not sealing the tank very well. So all you have to do to fix that problem is get a new flapper. They're very inexpensive. You don't even need tools to replace them. Now, at first, she was a little bit nervous about putting her hands in toilet water, but her dad explained to her that the water in the toilet tank right there is perfectly clean. It's the same water that comes out of our faucets. Water in a toilet only gets dirty when it goes down to the bowl and then we, use the toilet. But all the water in the tank right here is perfectly clean, clear water. Now, whenever you repair anything in a house, you should always wash your hands afterwards, but Itsy Bitsy Spider and her mom went to the store and they got a new flapper, and they replaced the flapper and tested their tank again, and sure enough, it didn't leak. After learning so many things about water, where it comes from, how we use it, and how to save water at home, Itsy Bitsy kept right on learning. She even told her neighbors and friends about all the things they could do at their houses to save water. And after a little bit of time in that town, instead of them always running short of water, they had plenty of water to go around. And Itsy Bitsy got to swim in her swimming pool. The end.